What up, everyone? DJ Anubis.
And DJ Neko.
Here with you on the Meltdown Radio podcast. Going to talk a little bit about the life, legacy, and longevity that Mr. Ozzy Osbourne had in his life. He passed away today at age 76. Really went full blown long. Like you and I have talked about before with guys like Keith Richards, like how they can manage to go this long. Ozzy was a guy that early in his life, didn't really take care of himself that well. He was an alcoholic, did a lot of drugs, was in the party mode from the 70s and 80s. He did clean up. Sharon was a big part of that, his wife. But also, it's very interesting about Ozzy was, I kind of said it in my little intro there at the beginning, that growing up in the 80s, he was one of those artists that the PMRC and the government feared, like the satanic panic. He was one of the big scaries that you weren't supposed to listen to. He was doing crazy antics on stage and stuff like that. But then by the time the 2000s roll around, he's doing the Osbourne show and he became like this whole other thing, a household name. He was doing commercials for World of Warcraft, and just the funniest fucking things, how it all changed. And, but the thing I liked about Ozzy was, whether it's Ozfest or the Osbournes or whatever, he was always like an innovator, always doing something different. And of course, Sharon was a big part of that as well. She was always very good at navigating his career.
And she was his business manager. She's the one who created Ozfest that kind of revived him and lots of careers of musicians in the 90s.
Yep. But yeah, Ozzy, born December 3rd, 1948, unfortunately passed away today. 76 years old, as I said. He was born in Marston Green, Warwickshire, England. And so he's initially, and then of course he died in Birmingham. So they were living in America for a while, and then I think about 2 or 3 years ago they moved back to England. I can't remember, I didn't watch the interview I saw where Sharon was explaining why, but I can remember my first time hearing Ozzy. And again, what's interesting about the 80s was growing up in a Christian home and going to Christian schools. It was always like, oh man, Ozzy, he's weird. He's like in that Satanism.
Yeah, he's bad news.
Eating the head off bats and shit like that.
I think that just became his thing.
Well, yeah, it was, and that thing. His funny thing is that made him sick. Someone just did. He thought it was fake, and so he did it. But the thing is, though, during that time, I'm listening to more of the glamorous hair rock and Van Halen and Rat and stuff. So Ozzy was one of those bands and artists that I kind of avoided because I believed the hype a little bit as a young teen, until I actually started listening to the lyrics of the songs and then realized that he was just more of a storyteller, not so much like the King Diamond. It wasn't like concept albums per se, but within the songs, he was still storytelling, and whether it's like Bark at the Moon or Ultimate Sin and stuff like that, really just kind of opened my eyes about how much propaganda and paranoia can set people off, especially when it comes to music. And we saw it throughout the 90s with Manson, even now with some of the heavier bands that we listen to.
I think Manson, for me growing up, was the big one. Everybody was afraid of, especially after Columbine, because they made reference to, they listened to Marilyn Manson. So if you listen to Marilyn Manson, you're going to turn into, a serial killer and be a domestic terrorist. For me, Ozzy has been a household name for most of my life because my mom liked Black Sabbath, and I was raised in a Catholic home, but Catholics are weird. They are very good at separating sin from sinners, if you know what I mean. A lot of Catholics drink, a lot of Catholics smoked, a lot of Catholic priests touched little boys and got away with it because they asked for forgiveness, so the church brushed it under. So a lot, with the churches that you went to, they were very concentrated on what music you listen to, about all this outward stuff. And we didn't really talk about that too much in Catholic school, or it wasn't like that. They're like, and it's probably because, you know, the Catholic religion is just so old, and, you know, they're brutal themselves, but they were always just like, you know, you don't judge a person by their drink or their, you know, music. It's about their worship, I guess. I don't know. But for me, Ozzy was never a bad name. Like, it wasn't like, oh, you can't listen to Ozzy. It was like, oh, I have some Black Sabbath albums, or, oh, look, Ozzy's on the radio. And especially, I think, because it got, I hate to say softer in the 80s, but it was like a change in direction with his music, that it made it more like a hard rock sound that was kind of popular. So, like, I think, you know, especially, I don't know, like No More Tears. It's like, you know, so for me, I never shied away from Ozzy. My parents were more concerned about hip hop than rock music, which is kind of, you know, funny, but maybe it's just because I'm from Baltimore, and, you know, the stories about some parts of Baltimore are really true. So they're like, oh, we don't want you to get into that bad circle and listen to the hip hop and do the drugs kind of thing. Rock was never kind of, you know, they might have thought Marilyn Manson was weird, or like, you know, the punk people were weird, but they were more concerned about me going in the wrong circle and listening to the hip hop and the rap.
Yeah. And you made a good point. You know, Ozzy started out with Black Sabbath. They are considered the very first metal band, although there's been debates about some of the other bands like Zeppelin or some of the other ones that may have played a part, at least influenced metal. But generally speaking, Sabbath is known to be like they're
the very first one who played the devil's note.
The devil's note.
I mean, there's been stories and written about the devil's note and the note that you supposedly can't hear, and it's supposed, like, I have to get back into this podcast. But yeah, it was a whole thing about music. There he is. Look how young.
Yeah.
He was a trailblazer, and he was unique voice.
That is a good point too, because when we think about certain artists in music in general, like Geddy Lee from Rush, you would recognize him. That's the first person you think of when you hear him. Ozzy's the same way. Like, very few people can mimic that sort of sound that they sing and vocalize. So, you know, like when I think of King Diamond, there's bands that have tried to mimic it. I know some do pretty close, like Attic can come pretty close to mimicking King Diamond, but I've never heard anyone be able to mimic Ozzy. Like, very rarely have I heard some even come close.
Yeah, because he sings like naturally. He doesn't do anything like off the chain. Like, he doesn't go crazy with his vocalization. And it comes off like with just like a certain tone to it. And, you know, he's one of a kind. I know when you texted me the news, I was in the middle of one of my many, many conference calls, and I'm like, it was just like a downer. Like, and I know, you know, after he had that ATV accident, do you want to talk about Ozzy too, baby? After he had that ATV accident, he really hurt himself, and he had surgeries and stuff. But he was, in a recent interview, he was talking about like this last back surgery that he got. He actually, you know, he felt like he was in worse condition than after he got the surgery. So like before the surgery, it was painful, but after the surgery, you know, his health really started deteriorating, and then he got Parkinson's. And he was just kind of commenting like, I'm really sad that they didn't give me a lot of options. They didn't like explain to me like, what if I didn't have the surgery? Like, would I get worse? He's like, because I feel like I made a mistake getting this surgery. And hey, there's Neko, my Neko, and she's going to be my co-host on my chair. But I really felt for him because it was a very recent interview, and I've seen lots of behind the scenes footage from his recent farewell tour in Birmingham. And there is this, video from the concert, and he was singing "My Mom Coming Home," and it was just like heartbreaking.
Yeah, I saw a piece of the footage today, and there was a lot of people crying. And
he had that big throne, and he knew he can barely walk. He was, and there was a lot of people playing for him. But see, he said, I wanted to go out on my terms. He wanted to do this, even though it was exhausting. He wanted it. He wanted, he wanted to give the people what they want. He wanted, and then.
Yeah, he was a big part of Black Sabbath early on. Like I said, big tunes like War Pigs, Paranoid, Iron Man is one that still gets played a lot. Became a big thing even during the Marvel movie series with Iron Man himself. So they still made bank, like residual stuff, for years. And I was a little surprised that he was able to get back out there, but they treated him with respect, put him in, let him sit and sing. It wasn't quite the same. I mean, I've seen Ozzy throughout the years, numerous times at Ozfest, and saw Sabbath too when they reformed through those Ozfests as well. So.
Yeah, you and I have been to several Ozfests.
But I mean, that's the cool thing. I mean, I know people that today were saying like, "Man, I never got a chance to see Ozzy." I know Asmongold, he said he never got a chance to see Ozzy, and really I have to say just real quickly to Asmon, my condolences, or at least sympathies go out to you. I know your dad, he announced his dad has pancreatic cancer right now, so.
Oh God!
So he's going through that with that, but he's taking it on the chin.
Oh no, pancreatic cancer is
supposedly it's like the worst kind.
It is the worst kind, like, because you always find it when it's like stage 4, and they have not figured out a way to like isolate it or like
detect what it might.
Yeah, like if you I'll just give you a perfect example. Like ladies get mammograms, every year, and they can detect changes with, colon cancer. They have many different ways to screen. Pancreatic cancer doesn't even really show up in your blood work until it's way too late, and it's heartbreaking. I'm really sorry, Asmond. I know I don't know you personally, but I do enjoy you.
Yeah. As we mentioned, a long time ago when he was still just towards the end with Sabbath, I think, is when he met Sharon and they ended up getting married. I have a book called Off the Rails that's written by Rudy Sarza, who was part of Ozzy's solo work.
Is that the one where you told me about him snorting the fire ants?
Yeah, well, that's a very famous story. In fact, I think it even appears in The Decline of Western Civilization too, the documentary about the metal stuff. So I know Motley Crue talks about it a lot. I think they even put it in like when we watched The Dirt.
Yeah, that's right, they did. He was outside just snorted a line of ants.
Yeah, so I mean, but if you'd seen some of the interviews and stuff with Ozzy back then, he was like just fucked up all the time. So not a shock that he would be doing stupid shit. That's just the things that rockers back then did. Obviously, once he got clean and all that, like that, he just take care of himself. I mean, again, because of all the shit he did back then, you would not expect him to survive to 76. I think they said he had like a little bit of Parkinson's.
Yeah, Parkinson's disease too. Yeah. So besides, that he I don't think he could walk towards the end. I mean, maybe just a few here and there. That's why he was sitting. It's just so sad. Everybody was texting me after you texted me. Did you hear Ozzy died? I'm like, I know. I don't know. I'm a little sad about it. I have to admit, I'm a little sad.
Yeah, I mean, you always prepare yourself, for these things. Like I remember, obviously, Dio, when he passed, Peter Steele. Like there's always like these names of these artists that like now, like I'm as old as some of them. Yesterday, what's his name? Michael Jamal
Malcolm
Warner.
Jamal Warner.
Yeah, he passed away, and like he was about as old as me.
Yeah,
so.
but he that was an accident. He drowned.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was swimming and he drowned.
In a pool or just?
I think in the ocean.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I mean, just again, just it's crazy. But the fact that he was able to at least have a very strong life with Ozzy, the 76 is pretty good considering everything he's been through. I think, is Keith Richards still alive? He's outliving Ozzy at this point.
At this point, I think Keith Richards is like haunted.
He's immortal.
Yeah, he's not. He's a spirit. He's haunted, but
he must be part of the Black Pearl still.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Ozzy, of course, he has kids, Kelly, Jack, and Amy. I found this interesting a few years ago when I discovered Amy. I didn't know she even existed as one of his children.
I think that was from his first marriage.
Yeah. And when he went to do the Osbournes in the early 2000s, she at 16 did not want to participate. That was like, she doesn't care for the limelight and all that stuff. So I found that pretty interesting. Also very mature for someone in her position, because Kelly and Jack jumped right in. Of course, they were a bit younger.
Mm-hmm.
But
and Kelly's so dramatic anyway.
Yeah, well, I've seen some interviews even later now. Like, she looks good, by the way. She really looks better than she ever has, but she's chilled out too. You know what I mean? So like,
just maturity.
Same with Jack. They both.
Sharon was going through cancer treatment during the Osbournes.
Yeah.
But he always thanks Sharon. He's like, this woman saved my life, like every single time.
And that's always a weird thing too, because like the book that I have mentions that there may have been an affair with Randy Rhoads at the time that he was still alive. So like, if that was true, like I can't say for 100% certainty that happened, but again, the fact that they're still together, been through all the things. I saw something nice today. I don't know if I'd seen it in the past or not, but it's when Sharon was still kind of doing those TV spots, not so much The View, but it was a different show called Hollywood something. And I guess it was her birthday or something, but she was sitting there and they started playing Crazy Train, and Ozzy came out with some flowers for her, and she was all shocked.
Aww.
But yeah, it's just one of those cool things. Like, their relationship and marriages lasted for so long through all this stuff. So my heart does go out to her, because she clearly cared about Ozzy a lot, and I hope that she's coping as well as she can during this time right now. But I think a lot of people too kind of expected this, and some people were alluding that when he was doing the farewell concert, that they kind of knew he wasn't going to last much longer.
Well, in one of his last interviews, he said, I know I'm dying. I don't need doctors to tell me I'm dying. I know I'm dying.
Yeah. But yeah, so, I discovered Amy, and she has her own kind of music career, but it's not really on the same level as Ozzy's or anything like that. But she's very low key. So I'll be kind of paying attention in the following days, just like to see what they say, like Jack and Kelly and them, what they say about their dad and their experience. Because Jack and Kelly used to be a big part of Ozfest as far as like getting the lineup. They are actually part of the reason you see bands like Slipknot come out in the heyday when they first started. That's sort of what they were doing. As you said, Ozfest was a great catalyst for helping younger bands come up. And it's fun. We went to a lot of those earlier festivals, and there was a lot of great bands we discovered through that. Even one year we got to see Lacuna Coil, and then of course other acts like Cradle of Filth showed up, and Nile. So like, they were constantly.
Guess who else? Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
I mean,
Zombie, Limp Bizkit was there one year. Big old toilet bowl. I remember that. Then you have, of course, shit, what's the band's name? I forget, but
Cradle of Filth?
no, it was another one of those new metal ones, but the singer recently passed, and they sing the song Butterfly. But I remember
God.
Zach Wild was like busting on him because he's like, we were watching him and he was just like, that last band sucked. I was like, jeez.
Oh, yeah, because they had Black Label Society
Yeah.
that year. And then wasn't it? Because I remember they would alternate Black Sabbath and Ozzy, Black Sabbath and Ozzy. But
You're my butterfly, sugar. I can't remember the band name
come,
now.
my lady, come, my lady. Yeah. Because we saw them one year and it was like Zach Wild, the Black Label Society, played like next to last, but then it was Black Sabbath. It wasn't Ozzy that year.
Yeah, because otherwise he probably would have played with Ozzy because he was a guitarist for Ozzy at that point. But yeah, that was another good year. We saw, I think, the same year that Dimmu played, same year that Slayer played.
Oh my God.
Slayer was always good live.
How many Ozfests did we go to?
It was pretty crazy, and that's I can always appreciate that Ozzy and Sharon did that. Even though towards the end I was kind of like they were kind of just going a little bit too mainstream and not really digging much because there was a lot of bands out there at the time that you and I were following the scene closely, and that there was like, they should have put this band on there or whatever. But the only thing I regret is the very first Ozfest had like one of the best lineups ever. It's the heyday of Sepultura, Fear Factory, Typo Negative. Like they just had a ton of great
I did not go to that one.
Neither did I. And I really kicked myself. I'm like, shit.
Well, see, when you know me, when I met you, I liked a lot of metal, but like I did not have the metal like knowledge, and a lot of bands I didn't know about, right? And I was also, the first Ozfest was what, 97, 96?
Yeah.
So it wasn't really 100% on my radar because there was a couple of other festivals like the Warped Tour and the HF Festival that were like, big deals to me. And that's what I went to. And then I think 98 and 99, that's when I started going to Ozfest, I think.
Yeah.
You have a confused look on your face.
Well, you said that Amy was from the first one, but
I thought Amy was from his first marriage. I might be wrong. Like
so I was reading this title here says why Kelly and Amy Osbourne weren't on speaking terms before Dad Ozzy's death, and then it just goes to say that we ask everyone to respect our family's privacy at this time: Sharon, Jack, Kelly, Amy, and Lewis. And then it says 2 of Ozzy's older children from his first marriage, Jessica and Elliot, were notably left out of the statement.
Oh, so maybe, okay, I didn't know that. So Amy is probably Sharon's, and
okay.
I got that mixed up.
Maybe Amy was like from another person, another father, maybe.
Maybe. I might have got that mixed up. I knew he had other children from his first marriage,
right.
And I just thought that was, so I don't know if he's estranged from them or what, because I didn't even realize. I knew about Amy, but I did not know about the other 2.
Amy, who is also an older sister to Jack, the youngest of Sharon Ozzy's 3 kids. Jack is the youngest.
Mm-hmm. So I guess Amy's the oldest, and Kelly's the middle, and Jack's the youngest.
And Kelly just says, we don't talk. We're just really different. She doesn't understand me, and I don't understand her. Well, I can see that, and you can kind of tell, too, just because the one thing I remember about the Osbournes was really when they were really young, Kelly and Jack were obnoxious, like really fucking obnoxious as kids. And Kelly was the worst. Like she instigated a lot of shit. I remember she was the one that, set up the thing to throw eggs at Iron Maiden when they were playing for Ozfest, and because of that beef going on there. And it's just like, she was just totally obnoxious. Now she's probably, like I said, from what I can tell, she's really mellowed out. She's a lot older now.
She's an adult. She's got to be in her 30s by now, right?
Yeah, and she's, done some other things that were outside of the whole music thing. Like she was doing, I forget what what channel was it? Lifetime, wasn't Lifetime, but she was doing something for some fashion shit for a while, like early on after she left the Ozfest stuff. But either way, like, you know, she looks like she's grown up a lot in that regard.
So
but,
maybe, I mean, maybe.
But hopefully, you know, they can kind of talk and work shit out.
They may not have any beef. Maybe they just don't talk. Like, they have nothing in common.
Well, yeah, you know, again, it says here, like I said, Amy elaborated on having a very different relationship with fame than the other rest of her family. That's why she didn't want to do the Osbourne. So it was actually kind of cool because I remember reading about it back then. Sharon, they all respected Amy's choice. They said, and they actually gave her an apartment or whatever to live in since she wasn't going to be in the house. She didn't want to be filmed. So, like, she just stayed out of it, of the show. But Amy's always kind of been more just moving by her own beat. You know, she's not really into the fame side of things, even though it's kind of weird because she likes the music aspect. She wants to be an artist, which she does perform. It's just not on a massive level. So I don't know how she navigates that. Like, that's, to me, it's like, if you don't really want the fame, that career is probably not one you really want to pursue unless it's just like a hobby and you're just kind of throwing shit out there every once in a while, which I think she kind of does.
I'm sure all those children have trust funds from Ozzy and all his royalties.
Well, yeah, and I don't think whatever issues are with Amy and Kelly, just it's probably with Sharon, and I'm sure I have a great relationship with Amy with no problem, you know.
Do you know what I have over here on my lap?
The cat.
She's been sitting here. So good.
See, she never sits on my lap like that. She'll get too rambunctious.
She loves her mommy. But my lap is not big enough for her now. She's gotten a little large. My little tiny kitten is not a tiny kitten anymore. It's Neko's birthday, you know. 2 years old.
Yeah, here's a good picture of one of the kids. I don't know.
Oh my God, look at that. Oh.
And this is, of course, in the 80s, too. So
look at that hair.
Yeah.
That could be Amy.
Could be.
Oh.
Crazy train.
Look at that perm.
Yeah. Yeah.
The mullet perm.
Just mull it over.
So I think one of your favorite things or funny stories was when I was playing Guitar Hero and I couldn't get past Bark at the Moon.
Yeah, so to kind of give you an idea just like how funny it was. So at our old place when we used to live in Maryland, we had a neighbor, very cool guy, but one day he just chose he was going to play Kashmir by Led Zeppelin like 24/7. It was all day. Same song, just on repeat. I love Kashmir, don't get me wrong. But I'm
he's like, I know this is a long song, but has it been going on for a really long time?
You know they got more in their catalog, right? But he was just playing the shit out of it. So anyway, whenever Guitar Hero and was a rock band became a big thing for the video game, I was downstairs doing something. I don't know what I was doing, but she was upstairs in the living room playing Guitar Hero, and she was playing Bark at the Moon. Now, she already done some songs like Ace of Spades and all that and gotten through it.
Ace of Spades.
But she's playing Bark at the Moon, and of course, Jakey Lee is a master of guitar, man. But like her playing it, and this is credit to Guitar Hero because they made you work for it when you had to play that game. So she's trying. She's getting to the main solo fine. It's towards the end.
I get to the last solo.
But it turned out to be like the same issue. I was like, for 2 hours, I was hearing the same fucking
and they're
song.
booing me. Boo!
Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck is going on up there?
He comes upstairs, and I got to the point where I wasn't even standing up playing Guitar Hero anymore. I was sitting on the ground, crisscross applesauce, and I'm playing it, and he's like, you're not giving up, are you? I'm like, no. This game will not beat me.
Yeah. She was determined, although she never did. She never did.
Never.
We laugh about it today.
I wonder if we can get our hands on like a rock band. That would be fun.
So yeah, here's a piece of what I was talking about. In his memoir, Off the Rails, former bassist Rudy Sarzo detailed the frustrations felt by him and his bandmates as they coped with life on the road with the vocalist. This is all regarding the drug use and the alcohol.
The insanity.
Yeah, and apparently Ozzy was constantly fucking like, inebriated. But I don't know, like I can't remember because it's been a while since I read the book. But I know he took Randy Rhoads' death very hard because Randy died in an airplane crash, small airplane crash one day. So he took it very hard. The thing about Ozzy that people always remember the most is he had this fascination or this drive, at least early in his career, to find the best axeman he could. And Randy was like certainly one of the first ones to show up for and play for him, and is still considered one of the best guitarists that Ozzy's ever had. Obviously, I'm more of a Zach fan personally, mainly because I'm also a No Rest for the Wicked favorite album guy, which some people don't like. Not that I don't like any of the other material, but that just happens to be my favorite one. And
without his giant beard.
Yeah. He was a baby face back then. But it was so funny because I remember when...
Wasn't he in Rockstar too?
Yes. Yep. But I remember when they first put out that record, because this is right after Jake got fired from after the Ultimate Sin. I had a friend who was like a huge Ozzy fan. Like he was just so big into Ozzy, and he was convinced. He's like, "It's Randy, dude. They just brought him. They pretended he was dead. This is Randy. He's back."
Is this like the whole like Paul McCartney is dead thing,
or something? Like he thought maybe Randy was just on hiatus, and just he thought they brought him back. And I was like, I don't know about that, man. But the big story about Zach and how he won the job was Ozzy was doing auditions and people were sending in tapes of them playing, and Zach had sent in a tape of him playing on a banjo, playing something we would actually hear from one of his other Pride and Glory later on. And the way he was playing the banjo, Ozzy's like, "There's no way this guitarist is doing this. I need to see this in person." Zach came and performed in front of the banjo, and he's like, "Okay, you're hired." That's
Zach's very talented.
Yes,
I mean,
yes, and obviously there's egos that go with guitars, just like any musician. I know guys that are in metal that hate Zach with a dying passion, but so be
you
it.
said there's egos with guitarists and musicians. Are you talking about Van Halen here, not Van Hagar?
Well, I think Eddie was very humble for the most part. I mean, I'm sure he had some sort of...
No, but I'm saying like the David Lee Roth
egos between the way
two.
big, and Ozzy would fit that because Jake is great, a great guitarist. You couldn't even beat Rock, Guitar Hero without Jake being there. So, and even now, I've told people Jake and Red Dragon Cartel, that's some of his best work, and this is years after all the Ozzy stuff. So. Or even the Badlands stuff. So, but Ozzy just had a good eye for very talented guitarists, and that's something that's been consistent now. Again, after I don't remember the guy from Osmosis too much. He was pretty decent, but it really wasn't Zach, and I think that's kind of when it started to fade out. Like Ozzy was just concentrating more on just music and kind of fitting
being a lyricist.
Mix.
That was another thing too. Yeah. Like as time went on, he was really, really almost poetic, especially as he started. He wrote "I'm going through changes," "I'm a dreamer." Like that was much later, like Ozzy stuff that I think he was reflective and
yeah, but so as time went on, like the last few albums, I've never been big on Ozzy because he's doing a lot of collaborations with bands I just don't care about, like what is the name of the one dude? It's not Paramore, but it was some other band. Post Malone, like I don't care about that guy at all, that group at all. I don't like them. But that's the kind of shit that Ozzy was kind of collaborating with.
It's stuff that he's done before. He's just,
Well, I think it's also just, again, Sharon's a big part of that. They want to cater to the newer audience, and that's what they were doing. But, that also was sort of what it sort of separated Ozzy from the metal community a little bit, because when the Osbournes came up, like I said, in the 80s, Ozzy was like a pariah. Like, just people, the main, governments, the media, they just wanted no part of it. Like, they actually blamed him for suicides at that time, as well as Judas Priest.
Oh, yeah, they did. Judas Priest. I remember we were watching that documentary. Sorry, I have to adjust. I need to readjust. I have to crisscross applesauce myself. I remember the documentary that we saw, and the guy attempted suicide and was blaming it on
after
Ozzy,
he survived.
And he survived, and he looked like tech support.
It was bad. That's the worst thing. Like, you try and kill yourself and don't do it, it's worse.
And
but that was clearly a money grab at that point, because he had the help of his dad and mom, and they were still trying to sue Ozzy and Judas Priest and stuff, and nobody was having it. It's like, no, dude, you're responsible for your own actions. And it sucks. It does. Being depressed sucks. Trying to commit suicide sucks. But once the Osbournes happened, and once you started seeing like the World of Warcraft ads and stuff, like, he became popular. Like, because then it started out like, oh, we're laughing at Ozzy, but then we're like really enjoying this because it's so fucking funny.
I remember one episode clip from the Osbournes. This is when Ozzy was still kind of heavily drinking, and Kelly even said that, like, she admits she was kind of like a bratty kid, but it was also like her dad, he wasn't on drugs anymore, but he was heavy into drinking, and he was always kind of like, a little drunk. But Ozzy comes like stumbling, and he's like, somebody stole all my beer out of the refrigerator. And Sharon's like, you think somebody stole your beer? Yes, somebody stole my beer. And she's like, you stole all of the beer out of your refrigerator. So, and Kelly has commented that it was actually, during the time, it wasn't, but as she reflects back on it, she says it was kind of like a hard time seeing it back then, because she realized how messed up and how much of an alcoholic her dad was at that time. And it's all like captured, and everybody's just laughing because you're thinking Ozzy's, just being a nut job. But he was just like always drunk. Yeah. And, it just goes to show you, he's a genius. He still has his flaws, just like a human. He's still a human. So do you have any more great pictures of Ozzy to show us?
No, not right now. I do have a song I'll play to him. Like I said, I hope that, because we're going to upload this, obviously, and hoping that, YouTube isn't too harsh. I mean,
this is a memorial. This is us giving our thoughts and love to Ozzy.
So I understand the copyright and stuff like that, but even though I'm not doing it for any financial gain here, but one of my issues with YouTube is that a lot of times stuff like this is like we're trying to be
appreciative.
Yes, and it's not done maliciously. We're celebrating this guy's life as metal fans and rock fans. So sometimes I think you can kind of look the other way, or you should, when it's not done for nefarious reasons. And one of the things, it's a bit of a side topic, is that YouTube is cracking down on AI generated content that's gaining financial.
Good.
Yes, and I agree with that. As much as I enjoy some of that shit just for the drama part of it,
no, because literally
nobody should be getting money from that.
No, because literally what they do is they go on Reddit and they pick the "Am I the asshole?" topics, and they pop it into AI, and then it just feeds out onto whatever. No, and guess what? Yeah, it and people get hooked on it, like you, because you're invested in Anyway.
Well, it's just fun drama. Like it's like Sex and the City. It's drama. So, but you shouldn't be getting paid for that. There's no work involved with that. This is work.
No, this is we've been collaborating with our friends for many years. We've been building up this channel for many years. We're a very baby YouTube channel. It started out as us just having fun and sharing things and videos with our friends. So I get it. People have hacked the system on how to get, a million. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to start an AI YouTube channel and then we'll be millionaires too. I'll just go and copy and paste everything out of Reddit and feed it into, some Chat GPT and create some auto generated. And let me tell you, people should be, I'm tangenting really hard, but people should be scared of what AI can do.
Mm-hmm.
AI generated my business headshots.
Dude, that recent thing with the couple that got caught at Coldplay, like the AI generated where the chick was running away. Mm-hmm. Like it's really quite clever, but it's scary too.
My business headshots, before I got my current job, I was like, I think I'm not getting taken seriously because I don't have professional headshots. And I looked into professional headshots and they were like, $500. And I'm like, yeah, no. I look amazing in my business professional AI generated headshots. And then it was like $40 or $50. They generated 60 some looked really wonky. Some of them I looked like I had a teeny tiny head and a big body and a big head and a little body. And then they would even you pick out some and then they would even human touch them up. And the one that ended up being my headshot, you would not even know I wasn't there. It looks just like me. It looks perfect.
I think one thing's funny about the Osbournes was you and I were laughing really hard at the time Sharon was pushing Ozzy to do different things.
I know.
And so one of them was to sing a Christmas song with Jessica Simpson, who was a pop star at the time. And so he's thinking about it, like, what? He's like, Sharon, I'm the fucking Prince of Darkness. I'm not doing this.
Well, remember?
And she's like, yes, you are.
Sure. Remember when she had a bubble machine? And he's like, Bubbles, Sharon? Bubbles, I'm the Prince of fucking Darkness. My mom and dad loved that show. They watched it. They thought he was, obviously my mom being a fan, my dad had really no idea who Ozzy Osbourne was. He just enjoyed the antics. One thing that the song Mama I'm Coming Home, every time if you're just watching this channel and don't know me for the first time, I used to be a sailor, so I'd be away a lot. And I would listen to Mama I'm Coming Home, especially I see your face 1,000 times every day that we're apart.
It's a really good record, No More Tears. Mm-hmm. A lot of great tunes. I used to play the fuck out of that in the early 90s. But yeah, he's got a couple of Walk of Fames, one in LA as well as one in Birmingham. So, again, massive, great achievement for him. A lot of awards. Did 9 albums with Black Sabbath, and then he did 13 on his solo stuff. So
he's a working man. I don't care how addicted to drugs and drunk, and somehow Sharon kept him straight. And then all that touring and Ozfest, and he's a man that deserves to be celebrated. But I get chills because I literally, me, when I get ready in the morning, I watch stuff, and it had been recently right after that concert where he gave that interview and he was saying, I don't need a doctor to tell me that I'm dying. And then I'm like, I don't know, that's some prediction.
Is he in the Rock Hall of Fame?
I don't know. Ask the Google machine.
Yeah. I just think because if not, he'll be in there soon.
I wonder if he decided he's just like, I'm too good for that. Can you turn down, if you're nominated, can you turn it down? Like, I've always wondered that. If you are like nominated for any kind of award, can you be like, no thanks?
Well, some people are like, well, Nubis, how the fuck do you not know if he's in there? Well, the thing is, I don't really like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because I feel like it's kind of missed the mark. Like, I'm not
probably the last
I'm not trying to be
15
elitist,
years.
but with so much now about the hip hop bands that are in there, that's not rock to me.
I think the last 15 years they've really expanded the definition of rock. Like,
that's why I like almost would love for the Golden Gods, which is over in Europe, to kind of be placed in America or something like it, where we can just kind of appreciate rock and metal. Like, I would love that more than anything, because you're thinking of bands like Death and how impactful they were in the death metal genre and stuff like that, and Chuck and them, and it's like, even though they may have acknowledged it, like on a grander scale, we haven't acknowledged it in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just so many bands that need that kind of appreciation. So, as much as it's nice to like Heart and Led Zeppelin get acknowledged at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it's shared with all these other bands that not really.
They're not rock and roll.
Yeah, and that's just my opinion. I'm not trying to be an asshole.
Are you trying to say that Led Zeppelin does not belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
No, they
Is that what you're trying to say?
No, they do.
Are you saying that Led Zeppelin?
I think he got inducted last year.
I hope he did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it's telling me. And I think his son, Jack Black, inducted him. So, of course.
Oh, now we got to go on YouTube and watch it. Find the clip, put it up.
Let me see. Well, tell some stories. What are some of your favorite songs from Ozzy?
Well, we all know Bark at the Moon, No More Tears, Mama, I'm Coming Home. God, I do like the Dreamer song. The one thing that my mom, when that song came out, that was what, like 2003 when Dreamer came out. My mom is also a big Beatles fan, as I am too. I know, I mean, I don't know if it's cliche now to say you're a Beatles fan, but I've always enjoyed the Beatles since I was young. And I think my mom's tastes rubbed off on me when, I've always enjoyed the 60s and 70s, all types of music. But she said that Dreamer really reminded her of John Lennon and John Lennon's songwriting, and I was like, oh, maybe Ozzy is channeling John Lennon. I mean, that's really kind of cool if that's what. But like I said earlier, I really think Ozzy, as he got older, when he was writing, he was more a lyricist, and he was really, a songwriter, and really working on just picking out. He wasn't going extreme anymore. It wasn't like he was out there to be outrageous and bite the heads off of bats and snort fire ants and do all the crazy stuff. He really wanted to be, a musician, a lyricist, a songwriter. And kind of like what Anubis was saying too, Sharon, she always had her she had her finger on the pulse of what was going on.
Entertainment and stuff, yeah.
And she totally just kept him relevant for so many years. So when you're telling me, I didn't even realize that he was collaborating with Post Malone and, which is not unheard of. We've had so many like cross-genre collaborations. It would not surprise me. And I think too, especially with this last, final goodbye concert, there were, now I gotta look it up, how many people came and sang at his
quite a few, I think.
Yeah.
Let's check out Jack.
Okay.
Into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Jack Black.
You should see Jack Black with at the Kennedy Awards with Led Zeppelin too.
Disney Plus Live. This is the uncensored version, though.
Car horn tuner, slaughterhouse worker, the greatest front man in the history of rock and roll, Ozzy Osbourne. I remember the first time I heard of Ozzy. I was 13 years old, wandering around the record store. What should I get? Styx? Journey?
Yeah.
An older rock aficionado noticed my indecision and he said, "Stop fucking around, kid. This is the album you need to get, The Blizzard of Oz."
Yeah.
Man, was he right. Thank you, nameless rock aficionado, wherever you are. You changed my life. I remember looking at that album cover, at Ozzy's face. Before I even heard the music, I was transfixed. He looked so cool. That rad white suit with the white fringe on the sleeves.
Yes.
That crazy look in his eyes. The skull, the cross. Holy shit! The whole thing just looked so badass. It was the most metal thing I'd ever seen, and I didn't even know what metal was. He was teaching me. I didn't realize I was entering a whole new world of heavy metal music. I took that record home, and when the needle hit the vinyl, heaven opened up above me. I don't know! Then track 2, Crazy Train. There was an explosion of colors in my brain. Suicide Solution, Mr. Crowley, Revelation, even Goodbye to Romance. You best believe Ozzy could take it down a notch. He could do it all. Blizzard of Oz was the best thing I'd ever heard. A heavy metal masterpiece. That fucking sound was raw power.
I like
Randy fucking
uncensored.
Rhodes. Yeah. Giving Eddie Van Halen a run for his money. And Ozzy, that voice, it could cut through glass. Magic, joy, beauty. So then I went back into Ozzy's earlier albums, to Black Sabbath. And I was like, unholy shit, this motherfucker invented heavy metal.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Along with Geezer Butler, Bill Ward, and the immortal Tony Iommi, the darkest, heaviest shit the world had ever heard. And through all that power, Ozzy's voice carving through the sonic blast first. Let me get that right. Carving through the sonic blast furnace like an air raid siren. He made the hairs on the back of my neck stand at attention. Clear and crisp as a morning bell. And that smile, he looked so happy, he looked insane. So much charisma, the Jack Nicholson of rock. Okay, so
Why
he
is Jack
invented a
Black look like
genre,
he's
had the greatest second act comeback in rock history. Then what? How about No More Tears in 1991 with the guitar god Zakk Wylde, proving insane lasting power. 5 times platinum. You heard me right. Quintuple plat. It was then that he decided to totally touch his tender side. So he called up Lemmy Kilmister from Motorhead, naturally. And together with Zakk, they wrote Mama, I'm Coming Home. And thus Ozzy took a little dip into the top 40 just to prove he could. Then what? The Osbournes.
I'm gonna have to fucking like look at that because Lemmy did write Hellraiser with him because they both did a version of the same song for their respective records. But I don't remember if Lemmy like contributed to Mama I'm Coming Home, which he might have.
I'm gonna ask the internet.
Yeah, I'll get back into this.
Yeah, he teamed up with his family to create another genre.
Yeah.
Reality TV. Maybe the most evil thing he ever did. But there's no denying it.
Mama, I'm coming
His
home.
whole
Desire
family
and
were
Hellraiser.
fucking hilarious and intensely entertaining. Another fucking massive hit. Then what? Oh, maybe just a little thing called Ozfest. Yeah! Only the most successful heavy metal music festival of all times.
Yes.
Ozzy, stop creating incredibly successful, genre-defining, world-changing hits. It's too much success for one lifetime.
Does Jack Black and I have the
go
same
stream
glasses?
Post Malone and Taylor Swift and get all the warm hugs you need for your broken hearts. Or you can stay up all night and get your minds blown by Ozzy's entire catalog for the first time. Holy shit, you kids are so fucking lucky.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Ozzy Osbourne, the fucking Prince of Darkness.
I don't know what music would be like if it weren't for the influence of Ozzy. It's everywhere.
He
Got
left
so
one of
much
the biggest
stage
rock
presence.
bands in the world and became bigger.
The day I left Sabbath, I thought, what have I done? I've just blown the biggest thing of my life.
Everybody was wondering, what is Ozzy going to do? He's not in Sabbath anymore. And he comes out with these first two records, and they're fucking amazing.
Crazy Train really is an absolute launching pad. It's like Ozzy the
This
Rocket
guy's stuck
taking
on
off
rock
into space.
Me and my friends were blown away. Going, you guys have to hear this.
And within all of that, you had this guitar player by the name of Randy Rhoads.
You heard all this new stuff that Ozzy was doing. It was just like a new era has arrived.
I saw 17,000 kids that raised their hands like this, which is the sign of the devil, as you know. And they said, Ozzy.
I'm a split personality. Ozzy Osbourne and John Osbourne is two different people. John Osbourne is talking to you now.
I can't use it.
No, where's the hair?
You know what? He might have did that for the Trick or Treat movie when he was doing it.
Oh, really?
You like animals?
He played a fucking
Yes, they're
a
nice to
priest.
eat.
Osbourne has a reputation, real or not, for biting the heads off the bats.
I mean, I suppose in the spirit of rock and roll, I don't know. I didn't mean any harm to any apart from the back.
I love that he has to have subtitles.
Mumbles, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Ozzy is completely
The
honest,
Osbournes was all
and that's very good for a frontman. You know, he just puts it out there and doesn't give a shit.
He always does
He's
that
like a loose
clapping
cannon.
thing.
There's that kind of danger because rock and roll should be dangerous.
I think Ozzy's music is timeless. Gives me the chills. It's just perfect.
You could have been a better friend to me. Mama, I'm coming home.
Ozzy Osbourne's got a voice
No,
that is
no.
so distinctive. It doesn't matter what he's singing over, you know it's him.
No.
Ozzy is more fountain pen
Mama,
than William
coming
Shakespeare.
home.
He's totally unique.
Even when he did that collaboration with Lita Ford, Close My Eyes
Ozzy's voice
Forever.
anywhere in the world, and people.
Ozfest became a staple in the hard rock community. I think it was hugely responsible for keeping the
The idea of being free like Ozzy is very exciting.
I love all the spandex.
Ozzy's the godfather of metal.
Hey, where's my
His
buddy
legacy is so
Jonathan?
widespread. He always has a new song, a new album, and new musical ideas.
His voice is his legacy.
After it's all said and done,
I wouldn't change a fucking thing.
Yeah.
I want to see Ozzy come out.
Yeah.
It is my great honor to officially induct the greatest to ever lace him up in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
He's got
The
his
one,
throat.
the only.
He's been down bad for a while.
Thank you.
They have videos of like the kids, the grandkids,
Yeah.
like watching Ozzy on TV, and they're like, "It's Granddad."
Fucking love
Yeah.
you guys.
I'm glad they got him in before he passed.
Well, here we are. You know what? I can't believe I'm here myself, man. First, let me get the thank yous out of the way, because I'm not going to bore you with a long, drawn-out fucking monologue. I'd like to thank whoever voted me into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for my solo work. A great thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really thank you. And more so, my fans have been so loyal to me over the years. I cannot thank them enough. I've been fortunate over the years to play with some of the world's greatest guitar players, drummers, bass players. A few of them are here tonight. But I want to spend one thing for a guy by the name of Randy Rhoads.
Oh.
Because if I hadn't met Randy Rhoads, I don't think I'd be sitting here now. And more than that, my wife Sharon saved my life. And my grandbabies and I love them all. So with all that, I'm going to get on with the show and hand it back to Jack.
Thank you, Ozzy. Thank you for existing, you legend. We love you. Let's hear it for Ozzy.
He's definitely
He's sad because he can't perform.
And now,
I didn't even realize it was
to
at
pay
that
tribute to
Me
Ozzy,
either.
Chad Smith, Robert Trujillo, Adam Wakeman, Andrew Watt, Billy Idol, Steve Stevens, Zach Wilde.
Zach Wilde.
Yeah.
Oh God. So one thing I wanted to touch on really fast. There were Black Sabbath during his goodbye tour. They did a few of their songs. Ozzy also did I Don't Know, Mr. Crowley, Suicide Solution, My Mom Coming Home, and Crazy Train. But then the guest performers who did a wide range of Ozzy and Black Sabbath songs, Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Pantera, Slayer, Tool, Lamb of God, Alice in Chains, Anthrax, Billy Corgan, Steven Tyler, Tom Morello, Sammy Hagar, and Zach Wilde. Jason Momoa also made an appearance, and Tom Morello was the musical director of the event. And then Youngblood, he's new. It's
hip hop or something.
No, he's kind of like a new version of new metal, kind of.
So he's probably like what's his face that used to be married with Megan Fox.
He's not bad. Like, I didn't know who he was until I saw the Ozzy concert, and I'm like, he's not bad. You know, I could get into this. But he did a performance of Changes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm getting emotional.
Well, Ozzy and Kelly did a nice version of that, so I remember that years ago. But anyway, we're gonna wrap it up.
Oh, why? Because I'm crying?
Yeah, and plus, it's just we've covered pretty much everything that are great memories of Ozzy and stuff like that. But I do have a song I want to close out with. Like I said, I hope YouTube allows me to keep it up because it's my favorite tune, even though I have even though No Rest for the Wicked is my favorite album This is actually my favorite tune from the Diary of a Madman record, and it kind of speaks to me, not just a rock and metal fan, but to Ozzy's legacy as a musician and artist. So without further ado, folks, thank you for tuning in and
Thank
checking
you
this
so
out.
much, and thank you for listening to all of our
Ramblings.
Yeah.